Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 2 of season 5 of our F122 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend, out of course still in the Middle East. If you missed out on the video that went live Tuesday from Bahrain, would highly recommend going back and checking it out. But of course we're back, episode 100 of the My Team career mode. Yes, we've done it again. We've reached episode 100, and of course to celebrate that, we're going to be doing a 100% race here in Saudi Arabia. The plan is I'm going to try and do a few more 100% races in the final season, which will be Season 6 in just a few weeks' time, of course, once we've wrapped up Season 5. I know it's very, very early to be thinking about that, but that is kind of the plan I've got as we start to look towards F123 in the future. But yeah, heading, though, in towards this weekend's Grand Prix, of course, like I said, there will be spoilers in about 5 seconds, so go back, check out the Bahrain Grand Prix if you missed it. I think things did not go well. We had a power unit failure. The second year in a row I've had a mechanical failure in the Bahrain Grand Prix there. Charles Leclerc, though, our teammate, did take home the win for Audi 212 Motorsport there. You can see Ferrari's Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo joining him on the podium means they lead the way in the Constructors' Championship. Somehow Lance Stroll and Mick Schumacher, despite that Alpine being absolutely appalling, did still walk away with the points. They see it's the 9th fastest ranked car there somehow, but clearly close enough that Bahrain, it seemed to work there, as Mercedes and Aston Martin are the backmarker teams now on F122, but we're already going to have to put a fresh ICE into the car there ready for this weekend. Not reassuring from Mercedes, and of course not really what our technical partner Audi wants to see either, so fingers crossed we can actually make it to the end of the Saudi Arabian GP this weekend. 50 laps ahead of us, it is going to be quite the marathon, but hopefully we can keep it clean and tidy and walk away with a well-earned and good result. Well, I am rather hoping that Bahrain last weekend was more of a sort of outlier than a new normal here on F122. I do not want to be starting down in the midfield each and every week in a car that is incredibly quick in race pace there. Charles Leclerc once again looking very, very fast as we head to Saudi Arabia this weekend. I want to be trying to rustle his feathers though, and let Charles Leclerc start building up a big lead early on in the campaign. Saudi Arabia has been quite a happy hunting ground for us in the past as we head down in towards the final corner. Oh, steady on, steady on. Charles Leclerc, I think, has done a 26.5 first lap in the session. What are we going to be able to do relative to that? 26.6, less than a tenth away from Charlie Boy. He's not going to have it so easy this weekend. There we go, then the end of Q1. Charles Leclerc fastest with Daniel Ricciardo actually able to split our cars. Mick Schumacher in P4, but out in Q1 then, Yuri Vips in his Williams after points on debut last weekend. Both Alfa Romeos, Nicholas Latifi, and both Aston Martins there. Disappointing from Alfa Romeo. I really was expecting more from them, but 6 tenths covering the top 16 around Formula 1's second longest circuit. And of course last season, especially in the second half, once we were comfortable with the car, we could normally make it out of Q1 and Q2 on just a single run. Would like to get back to that sort of success again. Final turn up towards the line, purple in sector 1, 26.4, 2 thousandths away from Charles Leclerc this time round. We're both improving, but Charles Leclerc seems to just have the edge over me again. Here we go then, the end of Q2, Lando Norris 26.0 in his Ferrari car, but Albon making it through in P4 there, quicker than Daniel Ricciardo this time round. Out in Q2 with both Alpines of Stroll and Mick Schumacher, both Alpha Towers of Piastri and Tsunoda, Gian Aruvula and Zhou Guanyu this time. Q3 is going to be getting very, very intense here. We've got 2 chances at it. Let's try and put this thing on pole. Well, the sun has well and truly set then here in Saudi Arabia. The Jeddah Corniche Street circuit is coming alive once more. There are, of course, so many floodlights around this circuit as well. But we need to try and put this thing on pole position there. We've already done better than we did last weekend in Bahrain, but just how much better will we do? very minor errors on this lap. Just made a bit of a hash of the chicane heading into Sector 3, but round in the final turn. This lap felt really hooked up. The first half was pretty much as good as I'm ever going to get around Jeddah. At the final corner up towards the line, what's the time going to be? 25.9! We just dip under that 86-second lap time there, and we are currently on provisional pole for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. What worries me, though, is if anyone improves, I'm not sure I can go quicker. I've got to admit, laps here at Saudi Arabia do hit different, but are we going to be able to go even faster than on my final run at 25.9? Was much quicker than I was ever expected to be, but like I said, the first half of the lap was pretty much perfect. So if we can somehow improve, it's probably not going to be by much. Like we have done enough then for pole position here, but we're still somehow in the green as we head down in towards the final corner. That off a bit too much on the way in, but at the final turn, try and open up the throttle as best as possible. We are going to improve, but it is going to be by thousandths of a second there. 25.896. We are on pole for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. That one felt good. Well, there we go, though. Only car to be able to get into the 125s this weekend, and we managed to do it twice there. Lando Norris on the front row alongside us, though. The only driver to start on the front row in the opening two Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc probably a bit disappointed in P3, ahead of Checo Perez, Albon, and Felipe Drugovich there. Bottas, Ricciardo, Gasly, and Ocon round out the top 10 here on qualifying Saturday. But let's get into it, though. A 100% race around the Jeddah Corniche Street Circuit. 50 laps ahead of us. This one is going to be a challenge.
So here we are then, welcoming you today to one of the jewels of the Arab world, Jeddah. One of the biggest cities in Saudi Arabia, second only to Riyadh, gateway to Mecca, and one of the biggest ports in the region. And now, host to the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Mr. Monaco lines up on pole position, edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Perez, Alex Albon, and Drugovich, Bottas, Ricciardo, Gasly, and Esteban Ocon, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Mick Schumacher, and Joe, Sonoda, Daruvala, Yuri Vips, and Robert Schwartzman, Ticktum, Latifi, Theo Pourchaire, and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Right, well here we are then, trackside for round 2 of the year from the Jeddah Street Circuit. The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is about to get underway, and in terms of strategy today, like I said, it's a bit of a step into the unknown. We don't really know what the tyre wear is going to be like this afternoon, so I'm tempted to do what I did last weekend and cover myself on the mediums early on. If we can go softs late in the day, we could probably be quite happy with that. But yeah, we'll really wait and see as to what happens here. Are we going to get a safety car today, do we reckon? Often Jeddah actually in the F1 games is a fairly clean and tidy affair. Of course, the AI tend to be able to get themselves quite far away from the racing lines if they do break down. But I'm going to say that and we'll end up with like a 4th safety car thriller this afternoon then. But we're ready for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Looks like everyone around me is on the softs, so we are going to have to defend hard early on. It's quite weird psychologically. Of course, I was so used to doing 50% races on F1 22 that I'm trying to mentally prepare myself to do nearly 40 laps on a set of medium compound tyres here. It is a very, very weird experience on this game, obviously, that I very rarely actually have to have. But lining up on pole then, our first time, of course, in this Audi 212 Motorsport car there, as we try and put some heat into the rear compound tyres there. Charles Leclerc lining up right behind us there with Lando Norris, able to split the cars this weekend. Are we going to see Lando try and get a good run in towards the first turn there as we wait on those Aston Martins at the rear of the field? Let's do this thing then, a 100% race here on the Jeddah Corniche Street Circuit, waiting on those 5 red lights. Lights out and away we go. Just trying to put the power down nicely in towards someone. Then we've only lost the one place to Lando. Sergio Perez there trying to have a look because all very, very cold medium compound tyres there through turn one. We'll have to launch it ahead of Checo Perez, and that'll actually give Charles Leclerc an open invitation back into P3 then at the start of this Grand Prix. But look at Lando Norris just absolutely taking off through those first couple of turns. It's got to really just slowly try and build up the tyre temperature into this rubber. Of course, don't want to try and do it too quickly, otherwise you could end up with some blistering depending on how badly we scrub the fronts. Of course, we saw a lot of the AI last weekend struggling with tyre grip as well. Of course, you know, there is that question, have we simply now got cars too quick whoa, for these Pirelli tyres to handle? There is Charles Leclerc already on lap 1 trying to go for a touring car style move there. He's just bump and run me out of the way as well. We're all over the place in towards the next couple of corners there. Checo Perez is going to try it again as we head out onto the back straight there, and Sergio Perez is through as well then, so we really have just been bullied on this opening lap 1. But again, the top end speed of this Audi car, they're doing very, very well down in towards the end of sector 2. Sergio Perez are going to try and keep it around the outside, but we'll swoop back through and we will still be up in the podium places well in towards the final corner of lap 1. Felipe Drugovich in his Haas car trying to look around the outside of Checo there, but Charles Leclerc not a fan of that on the opening lap of this Grand Prix. You know, maybe with a couple of races to go, the aggression might come out between the pair of us there, but Charlie boy wanted to clearly get the elbows out early on as Lando Norris will lead the way at the end of lap 1. 1 down, 49 to go then this afternoon. Well, it would have been quite nice to be inside the DRS range of another car as we get towards lap 3, but I don't think it's going to happen there. Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, of course, on those soft compound tyres. It might take us sort of a good 10 or so laps, maybe even more, before we start closing in on them. I wouldn't be surprised if the softs can go a bit further than the game's anticipated. You know, 13 laps and then 37 on the medium seems a bit extreme. As Charles Leclerc, new fastest lap of the day. We're not a million miles away, but we are also got to be very, very careful that we don't push too hard early on. It is all about pacing yourself even more in a 100% race and a 50, and making sure you also don't do anything stupid. It really does seem like Lando Norris has got the bit between his teeth early on in this Grand Prix. Just set new fastest lap of the day. Won't improve on it this time round there as we're still just sat snug in the very, very low 131s there. Charles Leclerc, though, just opening up that gap slightly ahead of myself. But Felipe Drugovich and Sergio Perez seem to be having quite the battle behind us early on in this race. The Haas have just overtaken Red Bull here in F1 22. Don't say that very often, but it's what I love about Season 5 of this career mode. It has all become a little bit shaken up. Like Perez and Drugovich still duking out behind us as new fastest lap of the day for ourselves. 1 minute 30.7, must be only a few hundredths away from the time that Lando Norris has set. But, you know, we're just still, like I said, managing the pace very, very early on, of course, in this Grand Prix. But not even 1/7 of the way in. So normally I'd be sort of talking about getting towards the pit stop window I do enjoy doing 100% races on F1, to be honest. It's just, of course, they're not normally. You know, they do take a very, very long time. And, of course, a lot of people, you know, you do often get a fairly similar experience to 50% races as well. It's only if you get sort of changeable weather or something like that, that they can end up being a lot more dramatic than standard 50s. But, that being said, though, you know, if it's something you guys want to see a bit more, I'm always down for it. Like I said, Season 6 I'm going to try and experiment with a few more 100% races, of course, as we get towards the end of F1 22. Plus, I'm planning on doing longer races on other games as well, over on my second channel. In fact, tomorrow, on the day of recording this, I'm going to be taking part in the Daytona 500 once again. Planning on running the full NASCAR Cup Series this year, and planning on running the F1 Fix Series as well on iRacing. There will be a link to my second channel down in the description below, so plenty of longer races will be going up on there. Plus, of course, you know, the standard endurance stuff, everything like that as well. But, yeah, trying to keep pace, you know, keep Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris within arm's reach there. Looks like Leclerc's starting to try and push a bit more. The gap to Lando was floating at closer to 2 seconds. It's now down to about 1.5. But clearly Charles Leclerc wants to get into the lead. Looks like Perez has broken into some freedom in this Grand Prix now. About 2 seconds away from Daniel Ricciardo behind him. So I think the Australian and perhaps the Brazilian and Felipe Drugovich, they're still duking it out and disputing places early on in this Grand Prix. It was quite nice to see Ricciardo able to match Lando Norris last weekend in Bahrain. There was a big part of me, you know, Lando Norris has moved around teams in this career mode and has often been able to sort of quietly put away his teammate. But yeah, Ricciardo matched him in Bahrain. The same can definitely not be said early on here in Saudi Arabia. Lando Norris seems to, of course, be clicking. Ricciardo's been with Ferrari now, I think this is his 3rd season, if I remember correctly. But Lando Norris has been there 2 races and is already looking very, very strong. Charles Leclerc, though, inside now the DRS range of our fellow Brit there as well. We just nudge up against the wall slightly. You've got to be careful of that. Not want to do that too often this afternoon. Well, we're going to now see Leclerc trying to apply some pressure to that Ferrari car, leading their first proper laps this year. It'd be nice, I'm sure, for Ferrari after a couple of horrible seasons in my team to try and get and prove that they are a force to be reckoned with again. There is both of them into the pits at just the end of lap 9, so that is much earlier than I was expecting this afternoon. And we are into the lead then of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix there, as that is a ginormous lock-up down at turn 1. Just completely could not get the tyres rotated. That's alarmingly early. I was not expecting cars to be boxing so soon in this Grand Prix, but I guess now we've just got to get on with it and lead this thing from the front. This could get very, very quiet very, very quick. Very, very weird to see, though, that Lando and Leclerc have pit, but it doesn't look like anyone else is.
Let's use that overtake button a bit more.
Checo Perez staying out there, albeit he's losing a bit of time to myself, but I just don't think Red Bull have got a competitive enough car this weekend. Of course, performance charts, well, I mean, how accurately they are anymore, I'm questioning with Alpine's success. As all talking of Alpine, one of their cars, I think, going slowly, or is that a car behind? It is, I think it's an Alfa Romeo, sorry, Robert Schwartzman out of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And we've got a safety car, very, very early on this afternoon. Do we go... I don't know what to do. Do we go softs and then perhaps another set of mediums later on? I think that might be the way to go there. Of course, we've effectively got a free pit stop. We'll still probably be out in the lead of this Grand Prix, but I think that's what we've got to try. There's no point keeping any of my Delta intact as we head down in towards the pit lane. Nice and tidy on... What? Oh, what is this game? Is it going to change my wing? Please say it's changing my wing. What is that? EA, come on. That's got to be fixed, surely. You can't even go near the white lines on pit entry here. They're not changing the wing. Oh, dearie me, we're going to have to box again. Where are we going to re-emerge in this Grand Prix? Looks like Norris and Leclerc back out there at the front of the field, but we're going to have to pit again at the end of this lap. Saudi Arabia, you cannot go with front wing damage around this venue. As, yeah, we're going to re-emerge, though, in P3. 5-second penalty as well, of course. If we pit, we can get rid of that. But that has been a disaster, and we're basically now going to be at the rear of the field here. What we're going to have to do is box again, then, in this Grand Prix, but also put on a fresh set of the medium compound tyres there. I think it looks like most of the field are going to be trying to do this strategy to get to the checkered flag, so it's not the end of the world. We'll just have to do a lot of overtaking in the second half of the afternoon. Look how much distance you've got to give those white lines around this circuit. But like I said, you know, we will get rid of that penalty as well. That desperately needs fixing as well on F122. The fact you can serve penalties under safety car is kind of a bit bonkers, but new front wing then will be bolted on the car. I mean, it doesn't matter how long this pit stop is, does it? Because we're going to be last anyway. There we go. Team finally getting on with it. There's a fresh set of mediums then going onto the car. Lucky that we've got 2 sets of those ready for Grand Prix Sunday. 7.6 second stop is not bad. But yeah, now we're going to be back at the rear of the field. Of course, P21 with Robert Schwartzman out of the Grand Prix. Make sure we get out of the pit lane clean and tidy. Let's get ready for a safety car restart. Oh, okay. Right, well, the safety car, clearly because we've caught up. FIA have decided that he's going to be green flag racing once again then at the end of this lap, and we've now got a lot of cars to try and overtake this afternoon. That looks like basically I think the entire field, with maybe the exception of Pierre Gasly and a couple of others there, are on the medium compound tyres, but it's green flag racing then once again here from Saudi. Aston Martin, of course, we know just how dog slow their car is. We head in towards turn 1. I should never have been able to get away with that, as we make the move there on both of the Aston Martins. I honestly thought we were going to end up going over the top of Théo Pourchaire there in towards the first corner, but somehow we just about make it through. So look at this, AI going too wide in through this first sector there, of course, through this very, very fast flowing S section of corners, but in many ways we're kind of lucky, of course, that this is a 100% race, because now we've got a lot more laps to try and get back up towards the front. Lando Norris will lead the way ahead of Charles Leclerc. So there's just so much concertina and up off this safety car restart. But of course, Gasly, we've got to remember that Mercedes is awful on F122. Now, Latifi down in P18 is roughly where that car probably should be. Maybe a bit better than what Latifi's able to get out of it. But as you can see there, the Mercedes kicks out the back end. So Gasly is going to be causing an absolute roadblock for a lot of the afternoon. There is around the outside of the Canadian will go. Look how little top end speed he's got in that car. Mercedes, I know I've said it before, in complete disarray. Whoa, in this series. There is a bit of a wobble as we head out in towards the final few corners. There, Yurivip's trying to make a move on Dan Ticktum. Are we going to see the Williams car get to the outside of the Alfa Romeo there? No, Ticktum's going to dive it up the inside there and basically bar Esteban off on it, as they're still going 2 by 2 in front of us there. Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc are absolutely romped away off this restart. I think we've got Lance Stroll into the pit lane at the end of that lap, so he must have picked up some front wing damage in all of the scuffle. Whoa, lock up there in towards turn 1. We're trying to get around the outside of Yuri Vips behind him. It's all going on here in Jeddah, but we're back into P16 then of this Grand Prix as we start lap 15. This is not the end though of all of this carnage. That's the only way you can describe it. We go, look at the top end speed we've got over Esteban Ocon. Has often been a thorn in my side in previous seasons of my team there, as he's actually going to return the favour on Dan Ticktum out of the final corner. Oh, we just about couldn't work out which way Ocon was going to go at the final turn there, but we'll get round the McLaren car. We'll try and look past the Alfa Romeo as well, as we head back down in towards turn 1 there, as DRS now re-enabled, and we're going to get dive bombed by the pair of them in towards that first corner there. I'll try and just hook it up around the outside there and pray we could get to the second apex before either of them hit us. But we are through. We're under P40 then of this Grand Prix. Look how much battling there is still going on all around me. It's the other McLaren there of Zhou Guanyu trying to defend for his life from a lot of quicker cars. But looks like Ocon has completed the move on Ticktum again. Next up, Yuki Tsunoda. Bottas and Mick Schumacher side by side heading out of the middle sector. Tsunoda then just caught up in all of this, and this is the problem we've got at the moment. Of course, we're just so fast, but it's about trying to time the runs on the AI there. It's Gian Daruvalo going very, very slow. This is what I don't like about Jeddah. It's moments like that that are just impossibly scary, because you just got no idea where you can go or what the AI are going to do there, as Mick Schumacher a little bit slow off the corner. Look at that! Straight around the outside of another one. Nope, make that 2 as down in towards the final corner we go. Bottas on the inside, 2-time world champion. Mugged off there. Back into the points then of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix as we cross over 1/3 distance this afternoon. But back inside the top 10. Every place now we gain is a big bonus. This car's got such ridiculous top-end speed still. On a track like Saudi Arabia, for some reason the AI don't run particularly low wings. Pierre Gasly then into the pit lane. That's going to be a freebie. Oscar Piastri as well. As first car into the 29s this afternoon there, 129.9.
That's P8 now, P8.
P8 in the Grand Prix is Zhou Guanyu up next. Looks like a lot of the field now are quite spread out. Apart from Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris there, and I think that is Albon battling with Daniel Ricciardo. Two former Red Bull drivers on very, very different career paths since then. One's at Ferrari, one's at, hopefully, a rejuvenated Williams. Does feel like every single lap at the moment. We're coming up to another car there, a bit like we had in Bahrain last weekend. As Zhou Guanyu, Felipe Drugovich going back down in towards someone. That was close. That was closer than close. That was just really scary. In towards the first corner there, as Zhou Guanyu and I both tried to go for the same piece of real estate in towards that first corner there. We just had to back out of it. Do not want to get involved in that. Here we go. Hopefully Zhou Guanyu isn't going to try and put me in a barrier at 205 miles an hour this time round. I am well aware he probably just didn't see me there, to be honest. Oh, contact between Albon and Ricciardo there. Drugovich gets involved with it. Down at the first corner, and can we do the all up and under? We're going to be three... No, 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 no. How did we keep that out of the wall? As I've just carved my way through so many cars in this Grand Prix there. We're going to have to try and flick it back round. Wait for the Aston Martin to get through. And now all that hard work we've done off that restart, we've got to do all over again then. Back down into P18 of the Grand Prix there. Looks like we've just got a handful of cars behind us. I think it'll be Gasly, Magnussen and Sir Lancelot. Oh, I cannot believe that. We just tried to get on the power a bit too early. And we are now back at the rear of the field again here in Saudi Arabia. Well, I do feel a bit sorry for Teo Porcher. He's gone from the highs of a 2-1-2 Motorsport team, of course, winning the Monaco Grand Prix back in Season 3 of this series. Joined Red Bull. They had a pretty decent car, but not one that can fight for wins particularly frequently. And now he's in a backmarker Aston Martin again. Life moves pretty fast for the young Frenchman there, but round the outside we'll go down at the final corner. We're not even halfway into this Grand Prix yet, and I already feel like I've done 3 100% races. Just so much going on, and we're just 23 thousandths away from my fastest lap there. 22 seconds behind Charles Leclerc. Need a second a lap over our teammate if we want to try and win this thing. That, I'm not optimistic. Almost at half distance then in this Grand Prix, and like I said, very, very lucky, to be honest, that this is a 100% race, at least so far, because we would not be scoring points this afternoon. As Latifi, I thought he'd go back out to the racing line, to be honest. There we go, a little bit too deep into the corner. Should be able to get the pickup out of the final turn there. We're overtaking the Mercedes car once again, and we are back then into P16 of the Grand Prix. Genuinely where I could get to once again here. I mean, we still have definitely got one of, if not the fastest cars. Seems like Lando Norris, the only driver to be able to hold a candle up to us there, as he's still battling with Charles Leclerc for the race lead. To be honest, in this exact moment, I'm not even sure which one of them's winning. How can I do teammate status? There we go.
We're currently trailing our teammate by 20.1 seconds. They're on old mediums. They're in first.
Okay, so Charles Leclerc is leading the way then. It's only in the 31s though. Don't want to get ahead of myself, but if we can carve our way back through, this race might genuinely not be over. Alright, here we go then. Eurovips and Tictum still appear to be duking it out with each other. Eurovips, of course, scored points on debut last weekend. Going to need to do a bit more today if he wants to try and get into those points as well. He's almost tried to take Dan Tictum out back into turn 1. These two, of course, perhaps have got a little bit of beef from a very, very long time ago back in F2. Tictum hangs on. Eurovips now is a little bit further away from the Alfa Romeo. Hopefully we're going to be ahead of both of them in a second. And then might be a bit of a sitting duck as we head down the back straight there. He has still just about picked up the DRS off of Esteban Ocon, but nowhere near enough to give him much of a helping hand, as he will try and get back around the outside, but no chance of that there for poor Dan Tictum. Up into P14 as Charles Leclerc's pitting. Why? Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris into the pit lane then, so clearly both of them still suffering with tyre wear this afternoon, but that's now going to put Checo Perez into the lead of this Grand Prix there, and we're now, of course, this would be the final lap of the Grand Prix if I was doing a standard 50% race, but where are they going to re-emerge then here? We might be ahead of Charles Leclerc in this Grand Prix. There's Lando Norris heading out of pit lane. There is Charles Leclerc just in front of him, as Ocon is almost going to go into the side of his former Alpine teammate. Of course, it wasn't that long ago that those two were both racing an Alpine, but oh, how times have changed. But this has really opened things up then. If they're going to have to... Well, I mean, they've just obviously boxed, of course. We could be right back towards the front because I've got no dead set plan on pitting again. If we can get to the end, I'm absolutely going to try it there. If the tyre's only at 20%, it might be doable. Here we go. Esteban Ocon, though. Very, very slow down the back straight. I don't know why the AI closing the DRS through there. As Ocon tries to hook it up around the outside. Nope, again. Does the same thing Tictum did and gets the same result. Look at Piastri now and Jay and Deruval are going side by side in through the S's. Neither of them willing to back out on this one. And everyone behind is having to wait around there as we somehow accidentally go around the outside of Lando Norris there. And we've now separated our teammate, perhaps giving him a bit of breathing room from the Ferrari. But we were honestly just trying to avoid Lando in that moment, as Piastri seems to have hung on ahead of Jay and Deruval there, as now Yuki Tsunoda, in the other AlphaTauri car trying to make something happen, but Charles Leclerc there getting caught out on... What is that? From Charles Leclerc the second time today. He's just completely squeezed me out, and we got another safety car in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix there. He clearly knew I was there because he gave me room, and then suddenly just cut me off. What is that? And this is, of course, completely changed up this Grand Prix, because now it's going to give the likes of Checo Perez and I think Alex Albon there running in P2 an opportunity to pit. We're going to need a new front wing, but do I go softs? Do I go mediums? I think the used set of mediums, of course, have done a few laps. I know about 10 or so. 23 laps to the end of this Grand Prix, though. We're going to have about 20 to go. I reckon we can gamble that on a set of sub-compound tyres there. As Esteban Ocon peels into the pit lane as well. Again, make sure we're very, very careful around those white lines there, as poor Chair's picked up a 5-second penalty. Not too sure what he's done in this Grand Prix, but what on earth is going on here in Saudi Arabia tonight? This is, as you would expect, a Saudi Arabian GP to be like there, but boxing onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres, then we should be pretty quick towards the end of this Grand Prix. But once again, we are going to be pretty much at the rear of the field there, as that was incredibly close in front of Yuri Vips. These tyres on less than 10% though, so they should be okay. But this is just carnage. I remember mentioning very, very early on in this Grand Prix that Sergio Perez and Red Bull just quite simply did not have the pace to win this afternoon. But 20 laps to go of this GP. Sergio Perez is going to be starting from the race lead. We're still down in P17. I hate to think just how few laps we've spent inside the top 10 so far this afternoon, but we've taken a big gamble going on the soft compound tyres towards the end of this Grand Prix. And have we just timed that restart to perfection? Yes, we have, right around the outside of Bottas. So we head down in towards turn 1. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to do much with it. That was Latifi there. Okay, we'll get an opening down around the outside then of a handful of cars there. 1, 2 and 3 navigated down at turn 1, as well make it through back into P14 of this race. Deruval and Stroll now side by side into the middle of sector 1. Oh, we've got a car on our inside there. Look at Yuki Tsunoda. I could just tell. I could just tell there I was going to get squeezed into yet another wall by the AI. But yeah, we've gained 2 spots then off that restart. Back into P15 we go. But we've also got to try and look after these tyres towards the end. It is going to be about trying to be quick but careful. Tsunoda and Stroll just still duking out of the final corner. Again, we want to try and probably get past both of these cars as quickly as possible. So we head back down in towards turn 1. Stroll there. Oh, he just doesn't. Positions his car quite nicely, to be honest. As whoa, what on earth? No, Yuki, why? Yuki Tsunoda there just dive bomb Lance Stroll down in turn 1. Of course, that's my fault, according to the FIA, and we again have just picked up a tiny bit of front wing damage there. That shouldn't be too bad though, to try and navigate towards the end of this Grand Prix. But Yuki Tsunoda there, so frustrating, just the way the AI drive. Just dive bomb Stroll at the last second, despite the fact we're already looking around the outside. The Canadian nowhere ready to go in the middle. But that is just so frustrating here at the moment that the damage is going to cost us too much, as we've got to try and get a run on Tsunoda at the final corner. But look at this, the AI 3 wide up the road. So we head back down in towards turn 1. Yuki's going to go defensive, but again, we should still have more grip than him, as Pierre Gasly in that Merc is still somehow hanging out just on the cusp of the top 10 there. Side by side with Mick Schumacher in towards turn 3, and Mick Schumacher swoops around the outside there in his Alpine. And now back opposite, looks like Charles Leclerc even, into the lead of this Grand Prix once again. So maybe taking me out has given him a bit of a lifeline, rather weirdly. I don't know how many times I've overtaken Jay and Deruval this afternoon, but this should be another one there as well. Just got to be a bit careful with that front wing damage there, that we don't understeer out too wide and potentially pick up more on the other side. It is definitely noticeable, but I think unless we get another safety car, we've just got to try and get on with it. Back into P12 then of this GP. It's also costing us a tiny bit of top-end speed as well, of course, as Leclerc leads the way as we start lap 33. 2/3 distance. This has felt like a marathon. Here we go, Oscar Piastri then. I'm still not sure why the AI are lifting off so early, but they are, and we'll capitalise on it. On the outside of our former teammate there, the Australian, in his AlphaTauri, and now Pierre Gasly. I mean, he should be quite an easy one to navigate. No DRS either for the mud. Look how quickly we're gaining in on him down in towards the final corner there, and Gasly, I think, just panicked slightly in towards that final corner. Charles Leclerc, another new fast lap of the day, 29.2 that time around, but as we get the DRS around the outside of Gasly, any hopes for points today for the Frenchman are pretty much now in the bin. Schumacher then next up, 16 laps to go this afternoon. There's the Alpine going to try and defend from me, but another new fast lap of the day. This time round, it's for our Audi car. There is, look at Mick Schumacher trying to fight back in towards that first corner. No way. Good sir. And we're up into 9th. A little bit worried that the tyres might fall off by the end of the afternoon, but we've just got to keep going forward at the moment. There's a big gap between the Williams of Albon in P2 there and our teammate in the lead. As we'll get around the outside of Zhou Guanyu, we'll try and move to the inside of Felipe Drugovich. Come on, Felipe. You saw we were going for it because you even moved defensive, but you can't just turn in on someone down at the first corner. Team happy with it, even though it ended up looking a bit like a touring car move, but I feel like we were clean alongside him. Clear cut there down the inside of turn 1. Well, yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but anyway, just over a quarter's distance to go. We're back into P7 and we are recovering quite nicely. There is still more work to be done. Oh, Daniel Ricciardo there, big mistake down at the final corner, and that's going to allow his teammate Lando Norris through, who's not been able to get past these slower cars in the same way Charlie Boy, and now that's going to leave Ricciardo vulnerable. So we head back down in towards turn 1. Team want me to pit again. Whoa, Bottas, no! What's Ricciardo doing? He's just turned in on me. How is that my fault? I don't get this game. I seriously do not get this game there, as, again, we've been pushed further down the order. What on earth is the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix today? Ricciardo there has seen me move for it. I wonder if he's panicked because he's seen Bottas lock up and just turned me around at turn 1 in one of the weirdest crashes I've ever had on this game. This is gonna be the race from hell, and again, we are out of the top 10. Don't know how many overtakes I've had to try and pull off today, but it is not ending just yet. There's to the inside of Oscar Piastri. Again, oh, come on. I think, oh, we've caused a roadblock. No. Come on, get going. 5-second penalty. And we got another safety car. I mean, that is kind of a lifeline for us because it means we can bolt on another set of softs. I literally said early on how this race would either be quite boring or an absolute carnage fest. We're at the back again here. I can't cope with this. This is the most bonkers race I've ever had on F1 22. I hate to think how long the video is going to be as well, but another new front wing. And we are going to be last, I think, in this race. We're going to have about 10 laps to go just to try and recover anything we possibly can. 7.5 second stop. I think we are still ahead of Jay and Aruvula in this GP, but P20 with about 10 laps to go. Oh, where are we going to end up in this race? Well, the first 10 laps of this Grand Prix were fairly undramatic. I'm really hoping the final 10 are good but undramatic there, as in we just need to try and get back to the points. I don't know how many overtakes I'm going to make today. Someone, if you've been keeping track, please let me know down in the comments below. But 10 laps left of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We have got the fastest car on the grid on fresher, softer tyres than everyone else here. We know there is still a good opportunity to score some points today, but we are going to have to really just go for it there. It's back in towards turn 1. Another handful of overtakes made there, as you can see. Ocon trying to move past Kevin Magnussen, still 3 wide off the first corner. Got to give them both the room there, as they're both going to be able to out-traction me at turn 1. We'd rather, I think, be stuck behind Ocon than Kevin Magnussen there, as we've got someone, I think that's got to be Pierre Gasly, trying to muscle his way back around the outside of us. You can just see there already the AI start to just spread out once again. Charles Leclerc, I'm sure, will just romp away at the front of the field there, but like I said, we've just got to take no prisoners in these final 10 laps, getting a good run on Magnussen as we head down in towards the bank turn 12. And look how late we're able to brake there up the inside of the Aston Martin car. Lucky, of course, the AI sometimes like to turn you on the exit of that corner, although it feels like today they like to turn in on me, turn me round pretty much anywhere they possibly can around this Jeddah Corniche street circuit. We need to be overtaking on average 2 cars a lap late on in the day there. As you can already see, Ocon struggling behind Teo Porcher. We're going to try and look for a run then down the inside of the McLaren car. Whoa, he just runs a little bit offline there, but sits on the exit of the corner. And again, if we get any more front wing damage, we are in a world of hurt late on in the day here. Around the outside of Ocon means we pulled off 3 moves on this safety car restart lap. Back into P17 we go. At the very minimum, we need points today. But, I mean, I would love to still try and score a decent result here as heading back down in towards turn 1. Teo Porcher there, of course, will be very, very slower than Aston Martin. Don't know how many times I've overtaken him today, but we're going to do it once more, potentially. Going to try and give us a good fight, but around the outside of Porcher will go. P16. Yuri Vip's really struggling in that Williams car there. Meanwhile, his teammate Alex Albon is still up battling for a podium here. Love this from the young Thai driver there. Of course, he's stuck with Williams for so long in this series, and nice to see him potentially about to reap the rewards as he's actually pulling away from Sergio Perez behind him there. We're going to try and get a nice run on Yuri Vips as we head down towards the end of the back straight, I suppose. Not really a straight, but you know what I mean. And we do make it through again. P15 now. And Stroll up next in the Alpine car. Then Van Tictum just in front of him, we can see. But of course the DRS is about to be re-enabled in this Grand Prix around the outside of the Canadian there, as we'll try and hook it up. Yes, we will. Luckily, no contact that time round. As Dan Tictum, I mean, look at this. Everyone is just a sitting duck at the moment, but what can we expect? Quicker car, fresher, quicker tyres. We should be able to slice and dice our way through as Nicholas Latifi doing actually quite a decent job in that Merc now late on in the day, just outside the points. I mean, there is still every opportunity that something could happen late on here. But down the inside we'll go with the Canadian there. We run very, very wide in towards the next corner. But you know what? I feel like he kind of forced our hand there. Tried to swing over late. I'm going to keep it. I don't care. It's Nicholas Latifi in a completely balked Mercedes. I'm having it. Piastri struggling a little bit to put the power down out through this mini little back straight there around the outside of the Alpha Tauri. Of course, already had contact once not that long ago with Oscar. We will hook it up all the way around the outside there. At the inside, ready for the next braking zone. But he's not going to try and give up on it. We'll force his hand, though, and up into P11 then of this Grand Prix. Almost back into the points. How many times have I said that today? I feel like a broken record at this point. Sonoda, a little bit slow out of the final corner. Are we going to get both Alpha Towers in a single lap? Yes, we will. Just got to try and get back to the inside, though. Potentially have a look for a move on Zhou Guanyu. Got to be careful we don't go into the back of Mick Schumacher. There is another double overtake made. Back into the points of this Grand Prix. How many more can we get before this race is out? 6 laps to go. We're getting a run on Mick Schumacher in towards the banking. Up inside, big send. P8 in this race. Felipe Drugovich up next. I'm intrigued to see how much progress Jean Deruvela makes. Of course, also at the back of the field, nowhere near expecting him to do what we've been able to, but Jean Deruvela looks like he has picked up a couple of spots there ahead of the back marker cars. Yep, that is Mercedes, a back marker. As are we going to be able to get a run on Drugo as we head down this back straight. He's again just going to lift off rather early, close that DRS, and we'll take it. Another place gain just to keep it between the white lines. P7. Again, we're going to be able to get a really nice pickup though out of the first couple of turns to the inside of Daniel Ricciardo. Again, we just ran a tiny bit wide, but nothing that I'm going to worry about too much, especially as he turned me down at turn 1 not that long ago. Yes, I'm absolutely holding grudges this afternoon. P6 of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's been a long time since we've been running this high up the order. Next up, though, both Red Bull cars. Perez ahead of Bottas. Going to be able to get a run on Bottas as we head down this back straight once again, despite the fact he's got DRS on Checo Perez. Let's swoop past the flying Finn. P5 now of this race. Sergio Perez there not too far in front either. Might be able to get a run on him down in towards the final corner, but the top 3 are quite spread out late on in the day. Norris trying to close up to Alex Albon before this race comes to an end, but to the inside of Sergio Perez. Made it through. Bottas is going to try and follow us by there, as we'll be quite cheeky and get the DRS off the corner as well. 4 laps to go. We're back into P4. Lando Norris, though, was closed up to Alex Albon late on in the day, and I'm getting a little bit worried that the Williams might be about to lose a podium right in the dying stages there. Lando trying to hook it up around the outside through turn 1. They'll have the inside for turn 2 there, but Albon might just be able to put the power down, and all this is doing is helping us get closer to the pair of them there. As will Albon be able to hang on the inside? Lando Norris there around the outside, he'll go. We'll try and get involved in this one as well. There as Albon might lose one. It might be about to be 2 places as we go around the outside through the S's there and up at a P3 of the Grand Prix. Lando Norris just trying to run away there, and poor Alex Albon. He has done phenomenally well this afternoon, but it doesn't look like, unless something happens between myself and the Ferrari car, that he will walk away with a podium come the end of this thing. I'm sure he would have loved the trophy, but Formula 1 is a brutal sport at the end of the day. Is can we now get close enough to the Ferrari car? Then looks like the advantage that we've had on these softs is starting to wear off late on in the day, but we might still be able to move past the Italian team's car. So just again send it through this middle sector. They're purple through the middle sector once again, and surely now Lando Norris won't be able to do a lot as we head down in towards the final corner, deep around the outside of Lando Norris. Will go and into P2 of this GP. Just a handful of laps to go here in Saudi Arabia, and now P2 is kind of looking like a bit of a nothing result, to be fair. It's kind of looking standard in this Audi 212 Motorsport car, but it has been anything but a standard race today. 2 laps to go. I don't think we'll close up to Leclerc. I think we've just now got to try and bring this thing home. I cannot believe I'm finally saying it this afternoon, but starting the last lap of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. What a ridiculous race this one has ended up becoming here. In fact, what I'm going to do is, for those of you watching this on the main channel, I'm actually going to lob up the entire video, the entire race, all of it, over onto my clips channel there. I'll make sure I leave a link down in the description below if you want to just see this whole thing uncut from the Jeddah Corniche Street Circuit, because this has been one of the most ridiculous races I ever had, and just so much has gone on. Like I said, I don't know how long this video is going to be. Could be 45 minutes, could be genuinely pushing up towards an hour there, because it is, like I said, I don't even know how many overtakes I've made today. I genuinely reckon we're probably close to 50 overtakes this afternoon, just through all the battling. We've had to carve our way back through the field on about 3 separate occasions. Everything kept going wrong today. I'm a little bit gutted, to be honest, that we're not going to walk away with the dub, because that would have been the cherry on top of the cake there. But being P20 with less than 10 laps to go here in Jeddah to recover back to P2 goes to show the strength that this Audi car has. But you know, the likes of Lando Norris, they are not going to make it easy for us throughout the entirety of this campaign. Charles Leclerc rounds the final corner. He is going to take win number 2 for the team there as he gets towards the start-finish line. But we're going to make it the first 1-2 for Audi 212 here in Jeddah. I will walk away very happy with that.
Yes, that's a podium. Excellent drive. The team have worked especially hard this weekend, and this is a fantastic reward.
They've delivered an outstanding performance today and under intense pressure to take a well-earned victory at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
A show-stopping performance from the 3 drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure. Charles Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The owner-drivers team moved to the top of the table. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix there, and after 80 minutes of racing, Charles Leclerc takes the win, 7 seconds ahead of myself there. Lando Norris in P3 ahead of, I must admit, I'm a bit gutted for Albon there. He absolutely deserved points with the race he drove today. Bottas and Perez there get a double points haul for Red Bull ahead of Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Zhou Guanyu, and Yuki Tsunoda. They can see Oscar Piastri and Felipe Drugovich just miss out there, and Robert Schwartzman, the only car not to make it to the checkered flag this afternoon, despite quite a crazy race with lots of different antics going on. But it does mean championship-wise, Charles Leclerc there, 50 points clear out in front, ahead of Lando Norris there on 33. Ricciardo still in P3 ahead of myself there. Albon with another solid points haul there, leapfrogs himself ahead of both Red Bull drivers there. Perez in 6th, ahead of Stroll, Piastri and Valtteri Bottas. Mick Schumacher in 10th place ahead of Drugovich, Yuri Vips there, Zhou Guanyu and Yuki Tsunoda with his first points of the year. Just leaves Daruvala, Ocon, Ticktum, Gasly, Latifi, Schwartzman and both Aston Martins there yet to score. A long way away from Ocon last year. Of course, after the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, he was leading the Drivers' World Championship there, so it really has hit the new McLaren driver quite hard at the start of the new year. There, constructors-wise, though, 69 points for ourselves. That puts us 15 ahead of Ferrari. Red Bull in P3 ahead of Williams there, who leapfrog Alpine and AlphaTauri. Haas down in 7th ahead of McLaren there. Alfa Romeo, despite hyping them up going into this year, still on 0 points there, but they are now ahead of Mercedes on count back there, and Aston Martin down in 11th place. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. That is, like I said, the most insane race I think I've ever done on F1 22. The full POV will be uploaded up on my Clips channel, like I said, so make sure you click down in the description below if you want to go check that out. But yeah, that's going to do us, though, here from Jeddah. We will be back very, very soon when Formula 1 heads to the land down under. We will be back very, very soon, ready in Albert Park. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.